So as many of you probably know, we are currently in a speakership election in the United States House of Representatives. Every time a new Congress is elected, they have to elect a speaker. It's not automatically, the caucus elects it. For the last 100 years or so, it's been usually, whoever wins the nomination of the caucus, that's going to be the speaker. Well, for the first time since 1923, we didn't just have one ballot. We didn't have two ballots. No, not 3, 4, 5, 6. We are currently, actually the sixth ballot just ended. So we have voted 6 times for the speaker, and so far, not a single person has reached a majority. Look, many people are still misunderstanding how this process works. You need a majority of ballots cast. That's all you need. You don't need a plurality. Because if we had a plurality, Jeffries probably would have been speaker right now. He absolutely would have. But he isn't. You need a majority of the ballots casted. And for most of the ballots, it's been 434 votes. But in the past couple of rounds, it went down by 1. And I'll explain that a little bit. Now, I know a lot of people are mad that, there's this anti-McCarthy, I guess you could say, caucus within the Republican conference. And originally, I was like, okay, the rumor was there was only like 4 or 5 representatives that were vehemently against McCarthy. I was like, okay, if it's that small, just vote for McCarthy because you don't have any serious shot of getting anybody else. But then the first ballot happened, and you scroll down here, look at this. McCarthy got 203 votes. The anti-McCarthy votes in total was 19. If it was just 5, I would have said just vote for McCarthy. Don't mess around with this. But the fact that we had 19 in the first ballot immediately was, to my brain, was like, this is automatically an indicator that McCarthy doesn't automatically deserve the speakership, right? And nobody should. But I always thought if he was that close to speakership, if the caucus was that united behind him, just give him the speakership. The fact that he has 19, or at this point 21, representatives in the Republican conference that are voting against him, if he cannot control his own conference, that's an indicator he cannot be the next Speaker of the House. Your job is to control your own party. If you have almost 21 at this point, technically 21. Technically it's 20, but we'll just say 21. If you have 21 representatives voting against you, you have a serious problem within your own conference. And the fact that he's not backing down yet, it's absurd. If he would have backed down by now, I would actually respect it. I'm like, okay, you lost the first 2 ballots. I think that's enough. Or actually the third ballot. It's like, say, you know what? We lost all 3 of the first ballots. It was going against us. I'm going to drop out. Somebody respectable would have done that. And I would have been like, you know what? I respect him for it. I disagree with a lot of things he's done, but I could respect him for having the dignity to realize he doesn't have the votes. And guess what? He still doesn't have the votes. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the anti-McCarthy caucus, they are just crybabies and all this stuff. Guys, the media has flat out lied to you about what's really going on here. I know, the media lying, shocker. But the biggest thing that's going on behind closed doors, there's 3 major things that happened that a lot of these people are just sick and tired of. Number 1, the fact that McCarthy got involved in primaries. You're not supposed to usually do that. You're supposed to, just help whoever the nominee is, but tend not to get involved in primaries. Behind the doors, he got involved in a lot of primaries. Secondly, and this is, I think, the biggest reason, he is just being a jackass to a lot of these people. Instead of, talking to them and understanding what their main grievances are, he's going behind closed doors, insulting a lot of these people. A lot of good conservatives. People like Andy Biggs, Paul Gosar, Matt Gaetz, just insulting them for a simple disagreement instead of working with each other. That's the biggest thing. He's not working together with the rest of the caucus. I don't know what's his problem. He's so entitled to this position, he thinks that, oh, if you vote against me, you automatically should get primary. And guess what? That's his plan. If he wins the speakership election, I guarantee you he's going to focus on primarying out every single one of these anti-McCarthy voters. Unless something happens. With a third reason for what's happening, and this is the biggest lie of them all, there were rule changes that the most of the conference wanted, all right? McCarthy half-assed these proposals. A lot of them got passed, a lot of small things, which they're good. They're mostly related to committees and stuff. But the biggest two rule changes that didn't get addressed at all, which starts with the amendment process. Currently, with how amendments work in the House of Representatives, it's a clown show. It absolutely needs reform. But that's not the biggest thing. Yes, the amendment process needs reform. They never got it. But the second biggest thing that this entire thing would happen if McCarthy just had the gall to accept. Motion to vacate the chair. Essentially, what happens is one representative within the caucus, they're pissed off and like, I motion to vacate the chair, aka take out the speaker. And you need a majority, of course, for that to happen, and it almost happened a couple times. And in recent Congresses, they got rid of it. It's been around for 100 years. Now, technically, McCarthy brought it back in a rule change, but it used to be only one. He changed it to 5. So you need 5 representatives of motion for vacate chair. That's stupid. Most places, most governments in the world, in fact, in U.S. history, you just need a 1. They got rid of it essentially over the past couple of years under Democrat control, but you just need 1 for most of the time. Now he changes it to 5? Now can you understand what the problem is with McCarthy? He's insulting these people behind closed doors. He's getting his nose involved in primaries he shouldn't have. He's not supposed to. Also, he's purposely tanking candidates, but that's an opinion, whatever. But he's also not doing the rule changes the caucus wants. And these are valid concerns. I mean, if you're in the majority, you basically still can't propose a real amendment. That's kind of how a joke of a system we got right now. It's a mess of a system, but also the vacate chair. Just bring it back. Those are the only 2 things. If McCarthy would have done, he probably would have been speaker. Now, it started as 19 anti-McCarthy votes for the first 2 ballots, but then we had our first significant moment. What I consider to be the big flip. 3rd ballot. Representative Brian Donalds, who, in my opinion, is a fairly underrated representative. He saw it in the first 2 rounds. He voted for McCarthy for the first 2 rounds, but then he talked to people and he's flat out said, McCarthy clearly doesn't have the votes. So, if he doesn't have the votes, I can't support him. So he flipped to who was the nominee, Jim Jordan, who he doesn't want it. I don't know why. I mean, if he really wanted to, he could take on McCarthy tomorrow, but for some reason he's stuck by McCarthy this entire time. But you could still nominate whoever you want in the House of Representatives. That's how in the first ballot you had Lee Zeldin get a vote. It's like, yeah, that's a type of system we got. But any other case. So he was 20. Then today, not much change except one more. One Republican voted present, which pretty much means, yeah, I'm here, but it's absentee. Like, you know what, I'm here, but I'm not going to vote. That's a type of thing it means. So it does lower the threshold. That's the best way to describe it. So, for example, the old threshold votes necessary was 218. With votes present, it's 217 since you had one more vote present. Now, the representative that did it surprised me. Victoria Spartz. I made a video on her in the past. I'm not a big fan of her. I think she's just, I don't like her stance on Ukraine. Yes, I know it's personal, but still, I just do not trust her on many issues. With that being said, though, I do gotta applaud her. She listened to the base. The base is furious right now with McCarthy. I don't care what people say. Go talk to an average Republican voter in Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, North Carolina. They're not happy with leadership. And to think they should get rewarded for what happened in 2022? Give me a break. So Spartz listened to the base and technically didn't vote for McCarthy. Now, it looks like as of now, Brian Donalds is the anti-McCarthy main vote. I guess that's the best way to describe it. He's been on the ballot 3 times, and not much has changed, but you look at the footage and you start to really look at some of these McCarthy supporters. Some big dogs like Tom Emmer, Steve Scalise even, they're starting to talk a bit more and more with this anti-McCarthy base. And in my opinion, I just do not see how McCarthy gets the speakership. Unless he gives what the the anti-McCarthy caucus wants, which mostly relates to rule changes. I mean, Chip Roy pretty much said that we need one of 2 things: serious changes to the rules or new leadership. If he gets the first one, I could see him flipping. But I don't know why McCarthy's this stubborn that he's refusing to give this simple rule changes. They're not big things. I mean, come on. If you're worried about one representative motioning to vacate the chair, you should not be the speaker. You have to worry about 434 representatives. So hopefully something good happens. And I do think that eventually the McCarthy caucus, they're going to turn on him. I think I wouldn't say it's a matter of time. I think it's likely. You're going to see somebody like Scalise rise. Scalise has been talking more and more with representatives, and it's just not looking too good for the McCarthy people. And The point is, he flat out said if Scalise is nominated, he will vote for him. And I think a lot of people would. So McCarthy, I'm having my doubts he'll become speaker. And by the way, the only way Hakeem Jeffries has become speaker is if Republicans vote for Jeffries. That's the only way. Stop this fear-mongering of Democrats will get the speakership if McCarthy doesn't win. If McCarthy doesn't get his own caucus in order, his own conference in order, all right, and somebody else is nominated, if a couple Republicans flip to the Democrats, they're more egregious than the 23 that are standing up to the bullshit that's happening. So hopefully something interesting happens, but this looks like it's going to go on for a while. Maybe it ends tonight. There's rumor going around that the conference is going to make a huge decision tonight, but we just got to see. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.